We want to bring in the president of the League of United Latin American Citizens, Domingo Garcia. Domingo, thank you so much for being with us today from Dallas. CNN's latest poll shows that only 4%, there's only a 4% gap among Latinos between President Biden and the Republican frontrunner Donald Trump. Do you think Joe Biden can win re-election with a margin that slim?
No, he's going to have to up his game. For too long, he's taken Latino issues and Latino voters kind of for granted. And I think voters in Nevada are up for grabs. Latinos want to know, what are you going to do about jobs? What are you going to do about inflation? What are we going to do about education for our children? And these are, I'm going to call it tamale and taco issues for us, bread and butter issues that are important to Latino voters, not only in Nevada, but also in Arizona and other battleground states.
I'll take mole and taco over bread and butter any day, Domingo. President Biden, as you noted, headed to Vegas. He's touting infrastructure investments there. He is trying to push this idea that he is a union president. Obviously, we know unions play an outsized role in Las Vegas, specifically like the Culinary Workers Union. But nationally, his approval rating on the economy is in the low 30s. It doesn't totally match where economic indicators are. So why are many feeling that the economy isn't healthy and that Biden isn't handling it well?
I think at home, you're still looking at smaller and smaller, I'm going to call it reserve spending left, because so much money is being spent on gasoline and on food and on rent and mortgages that the people don't see that they're really making any progress. And I think it's really important that President Biden is able to highlight what he's done, but more importantly, connect with Latino voters on those key issues of jobs, inflation, the economy, and what the Democratic Party and his campaign will do in the next 4 years. Don't take it for granted. They are leaning, especially Latino males are leaning toward the Republican Party on issues like law enforcement and military.
That is really fascinating to me, Domingo, because of the rhetoric from Donald Trump. He's improved his standing with Latino voters since 2016 in all over the map and in different subsects of the Latino demographic. And yet recently he was talking about the blood of the country being poisoned by immigrants. How do you square that seeming disparity between the rhetoric against immigrants and growing support for Trump among Latinos?
I think that it's important that we not let Trump get away with it, or any other politician, when they start playing the fear-mongering game, the scapegoating, the fear of the other, which unfortunately it appears that that's primarily what the Trump campaign is doing. I think a lot of Latino voters are concerned about immigration on the border, especially those Latinos in the border areas. I've been in Eagle Pass and El Paso, and they want something to be legally established, an orderly procession of immigration, as opposed to some of the chaos we're seeing now, as well as support and assistance. So I think that's one of the things where there's a disconnect between what's happening in Washington and what's happening in the barrios and the homes of people in the border areas, as well as subsets of Latinos like in Florida.
And Domingo, one last question. Latinos are the fastest growing voting bloc in the country, but consistently we have the lowest numbers among ethnic groups for registration and turnout. Why do you think that is? How does that get fixed?
Because there hasn't been an effort by Democrats or Republicans to really invest in getting the Latino vote out. But demographics is trending that way, and that wave is seen slowly lapping and lapping higher and higher. So even though the numbers are still down compared to other ethnic groups, the numbers are increasing. And in key battleground states, in Arizona, in Nevada, in Wisconsin, the Latino vote can make the difference.
Domingo Garcia, we very much appreciate you sharing your perspective with us.
Thank you, Boris.